Good afternoon, Adam here at Board at Home. In this week's Jump In Let's Play, we'll be taking a look at Into the Blue. This is a game that crosses luck with strategy in what is essentially an area control game. We start by rolling these dice at the start of each of our turns, and then depending on our dice rolls, we will be able to occupy spaces or take one of these treasures along the bottom. When we roll our dice, we'll be looking for sequences of numbers starting with 1 and working our way up 2, 3, 4, 5, for example, or multiples thereof. So if we had 1, 2, 3 and a 2 and say that was a 3 and that was a 3, we would then get a choice between those of where we would like to put our shells. So you might want to put 1 in 1, 2 in 2, or 3 in 3, for example. That is up to you, and we keep going back and forth until one player has depleted their shells, and then everyone after that gets one more turn to roll the dice and get their shells. So with the dice rolls, we actually get 3 chances of rolling these dice. So you'll roll them for the first time, and then you get to keep any out of there that you would like. So we'll keep the 1 and the 2 there, and we get our second roll. We roll again, so we've got 4. So we're going to roll once more, because if we don't get a 3 here, then we only have the option of placing a shell in 1 or 2. But we're going to see if we can get a 3 on one of these 3 dice. We don't, so we got 1 and 2 2s. These then get discarded because we don't have a 3, which means we can't place anything higher than the 2. So we're going to put 2 in there. Had we rolled a 3, if that had been a 3, we could have taken those 2 and put 1 in the 3, for example, or put 2 in the 4. The other roll that is possible to make, just to show you, because it might not come up in this Let's Play, is a perfect dive, which is where we roll a 1 to 5 and the treasure chest. If you manage to do that in your 3 tries, then you get to dive right to the bottom and grab one of these treasures. There are 5 in total. They each have a different value. That will be added to your loot, and then at the end of the game you will add that to your total score. Alternatively, you could end up rolling any sequence of numbers. We'll keep it at this, and we rolled that or that, anything but a 1, for example. If you end up with a sequence of numbers or a bunch of numbers and you don't have it starting with the number 1, then it is an unsuccessful dive. You won't be able to lay claim to any treasure this turn. So do use those 3 rolls wisely. So we go to the next player, the green player here. They're going to roll their dice. So they've got 3, so it's 2 3s there. So we're going to leave those there for a while. Okay, nothing there. We're going to take one of those back, get one more dice roll. Well, that was a poor dice roll, so we've got a 1. So he has no option but to place this on the first square, and only one of them. We'll then go back to the red player. So they've got a 2 3. So they're going to roll these ones here. There we go. So they've got our 1 2 3. We're going to roll these 2, just see if we get a 4 in there. We don't. So we've got 3 on the 3. So we're going to take that. We're going to go for that 1 2 3. We're not going to bother putting anything on the 2 just now, because we're the only one on there. And on the 1, we're not going to fight for that just yet this early in the game. We'll then go back to the green player, and they will roll their dice. So they've got a 2 and a 3 there. Let's see if we can get them a nice sequence. So we've got a 1 2 3. One more dice roll. Okay, so they can put 2 on the 3 if they so wish. So let's do that. Put some pressure on this player. If we end up not getting the majority, the green player not getting the majority, they will get something out of that. So back to the red player, and we roll our dice. So we've got a 2 3 4 5 and that. So you could feel a bit lucky and roll the dice and see if you get a 1. If you don't, then you don't get anything, but you do have 2 chances to roll this. And of course, on your 3rd roll, you can re-roll any of the dice anyway. So we're going to be a bit cheeky and see if we can get a number 1 from that. We can't, so we're going to take a few dice back and just see if we can get a number 1. Nothing there. So this means that the red player gets nothing on this turn. They can't lay claim to any treasure. So our green player will keep rolling. And they have got 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4. That's a pretty good roll. We'll roll the 3 just to see if we get anything better. We've got a 5 there. So he's actually going to take 1 and put it in the 5. Tends to be a lot harder to get the numbers higher up. So we're going to go for that. We'll then go back to the red player. So you've got a 2 and a 3 there. Let's re-roll these 4. Re-roll them again. 1. So we got the 4 there. So we're going to put 1 in the 4, which allows us to have the majority so far on that. Green player has got 1, 2. They're going to be a bit cheeky. See if they can re-roll that. Nope. So let's roll all of these. So they've got 3 on the 3. So let's go for that because that will give us a majority on there. And we keep rolling back and forth until one player has exhausted all of their shells. And then at the end of the game, we will total up the scores depending on who's got the majority for each of them. Okay, so we've been through the rest of the game. Didn't want to show you, it's not a lot of fun just watching me roll dice for a few minutes. So we've got to the end of the game. We will now take a look through the levels and see who has the majority for each level. So it's simply a case of taking a look at who has the most shells within each level and then allocating the treasures appropriately. So we've got in level 5, the green player has got 3 shells, red player has 1. So he gets the 10 points. The red player gets the 5 points. On this level here, the red player has got 3 shells, so he gets the 8 points. Now here, there's no one else in the zone, so no one gets the 4 points here. In this section, we have got 5 green shells and we have 3 red, so he gets his first prize and red gets the secondary prize. Again, in 2, red has the only shells in there, so it gets the majority and no one gets the secondary one. And finally, on the first level, we've got 3 shells to green's 2, so red gets the 2 points and green gets the 1 point. Now green also, during the course of the rolls, which would have been cool to have seen, got a perfect dive, 1 to 5 plus the treasure chest, so it managed to grab one of the random treasures. So it grabbed this one, which is 8 points. We would then total up all of these points, and then whoever has the most will be declared the winner. So here we've got 25 points for green, and for red we have got 22 points. A fairly close game there, but green does take the game. Now, if there are any ties in the game at all, by the time you get to the end, then you will check preceding levels to see who has the majority on the preceding level. So had red had an equal number to green, it would go back to the 4th level to check who had the majority there. In this case, it would have been red if it had 3 and the green had 2 or less. If it didn't, you would keep going back until you declare a winner. If it is still tied, then whoever took their last turn earlier wins the tie. So it will always try to give you a winner somewhere along the way. So that is the game. It's a really interesting one, in similar vein to King of Tokyo, where there's a bit of luck as well because of the dice rolls. It is somewhat mitigated by having a couple of re-rolls, as well as exactly what you do with the results when you have them. So you're trying to mitigate that luck with strategy. So in this case here, we're using area control. Yes, you might have more dice that come up on 2 than 4, but you may feel that the 4 is harder to get hold of, so you're going to put less in a higher number, or you might even try your luck to get one of the ones along the bottom. All in all, I think this is a great game for anyone who is looking for something a little bit light, but with just enough strategy in there to give it a nice fullness, a nice depth to the game, all puns intended. If you want to give it a go, we do have it in the demo area and the board games library, so you can come along to one of our games nights or at any point during the week when you're free to give it a go. We also have plenty on the shelves as well if you want to take a copy home. That's it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions, as always, comment below. Phone us on 01843 316 281 or visit us in store and we'll be happy to help. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the boardroom.